going to call the study session to order.
Roll call for the City Council budget session of 12/17/2024. Ms. Flores, Mr. Brzezinski, Nelson, Shaw, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon. Troop is absent.
Would you like to talk about the sewer, the wastewater thing? That's the thing that's not on this sheet. So we'll
Okay.
get that out of the way first.
All right. We changed the methodology at Mr. Nelson's request. We changed the methodology of the way we were calculating the rates. And basically, we were using tiers before. There were three tiers, each tier a little bit less expensive than the previous one. So the higher your volume, the less you were paying per CCF. In order to bring the residential rates down and still get our revenue increase per the 5-year plan prepared by Raftellus, we flat rated that, so there's no volume discounts anymore. So that we were able to bring the revenue right in.
Was our 5-year plan ever updated at all with COVID and everything coming in? Did any other plans change from the time they gave us the 5-year plan to everything that we encountered in between?
Well, I give you a 5-year plan every budget. There's one in the last 4 pages of the budget are a new 5-year plan, so I update that every year based on what's going on.
Okay.
So, yeah, for the general fund, sewer, refuse, and debt funds. So, yeah, basically the sewer is not in here because there wasn't really a change to it. We just rearranged the revenue line items some and managed to come in at the same point. But the residential rates are lower now.
Lower than what was first proposed.
Yeah.
It was 3.74, and I think we went with 3.9 or something like that.
Yeah, 3.9 per CCF rather than 4. Well, we proposed 4.
Okay.
We got that down to 3.9.
So just for residents will still see a slight increase, but not what was
Not
Yeah,
as much
going
of
from
an increase.
3.74 to 3.9 is a 4% increase, 4.27% increase, whereas originally it was proposed at 9.
Yeah.
So that's less than half of what the original increase was. But businesses, I think their rate used to be like 449 or 439 maybe, 439.
I haven't.
And that goes up to 3.9 as well.
Yeah.
The CCFs were at tiers of 0 to 5,000 and then 5,000 to 10,000. I use about 52. So you could see how like disproportionate this was for residents. Like you had to be, and this is a huge benefit. Our biggest users are tax exempt entities. So we were giving a discount for tax exempt entities. The pipes carry it all to the same place. It gets treated the same way. There was no reason to give that discount. So for all the talk we have about helping the person on the fixed income, this was a clear thing, I thought.
So I think this is great.
I mean, the increases have to happen because of us needing to be compliant and some of the needs that are down at the facility, so they're going to happen. So us going back and forth trying to find a middle ground that I feel the residents could see that we're trying to alleviate the financial burden on them, but some of this deferred maintenance is going to have to be taken care of sooner rather than later, and we're finally coming up on the time where the need is now. So I'm hoping that a lot of people paid attention to us going back and forth on these increases, because this is where I feel like we would benefit to put the pressure on the corporations and the tax exempt entities, because they already have some type of savings when it comes time for property tax. So
Yeah, and we will have to do a bond issue. We will have to do a bunch of repairs. We
Right.
do have to get on our schedule of
Right.
repairs, or it'll cost more when we do it. And there's some things that we won't be able to do, or might become obsolete by the time we're able to get started on them. So it's really a good thing that we're doing this.
So the new one was circulated with the new rates that cuts the increase to less than half of what it had been for residents.
Which makes it what?
It'll be 3.9 per CCF instead of 3.74, but it won't be 4. That was the original proposal.
I would hope that we can find a better way to do it than to put it on the backs of the poorest people. I know the whole damn story about nonprofits and all that. It's got to be a better way. We keep on hiring people. Maybe that's one of the reasons that we're so tight with our budget. Why do we keep on hiring people?
Well, this
You know,
is the,
I got
this is,
$20 in my pocket, I'm not gonna spend 25, and we're doing that. It's gonna come back and haunt us.
we haven't hired in the wastewater treatment plant. That's not impacting that at all. It's the maintenance that we have to do. It's the debt that we're gonna have to take on to do the maintenance that's
I was on
causing
City
it.
Council last time, we floated almost 100
Yeah.
million for that whole sewer thing. I understand that part of it. I'm not saying that, but we've got, just let it go.
Well, in the whole scheme of things, we are down employees from previous years too. So there's that. Just like the people who don't stay. So people come in and then they leave. I mean, and that's the way it is for everyone. It's not like Erie exclusive. It happens.
So the handout that I gave you are the proposed changes, and this is everything that we everything that we recorded that somebody asked us during the budget deliberations to change. I've got the positive adjustments at the top separated from the negative adjustments so that that you can vote on them separately. And there's some offsets at the bottom. Do you want me to just go through each one of them?
Help me with decreased part-time labor. I thought
We-
we were going to increase the amount of money they make per hour, not decrease them.
We decreased the part-time labor because in that discussion, the options that we wrestled through were, they were asking for 2 full-time positions.
Right.
So 2 full-time positions. And then if they did that, they forgot to decrease, not forgot, but they didn't decrease the seasonal labor to go alongside of that. The other option was, because they're having trouble keeping part-time seasonal labor,
Right.
is increasing the part-time wages.
Right.
And then that would have been justification for us to not hire the 2 full-time people, was the argument. So I'm cool with either of those on the table. But it
What's on the
seems-
table, I guess, is what I'm asking.
What's on the table is hiring the 2 people.
Hiring 2 people.
And
And leaving it at
leaving the-
15 for the rest of
Yeah.
them?
right.
And then they have a more promising opportunity to move full-time. It'll be 2 years instead of 3 years, because there will be more opportunity.
They can make that at McDonald's.
I know, Chick-fil-A's at 17, yeah. But the full-time position with the pension and the benefits, I mean, it's worth waiting 2-3
Yeah,
years
do it.
and getting one of those jobs.
The problem is people are more goal-oriented right away these days instead of patience.
So that's the only thing that, it sounded like we could get 4 votes to drop that down, and so that we don't have as big of a refuse increase. Altogether, we were able to get the refuse costs down $147,000.
Yeah, about $1 a quarter per customer, $4 a year. So,
That's going with the 2 full-time.
right.
Yeah.
And that was we ran all the scenarios, and that was the one that saved us the most money.
Cutting the 2 full-time.
cutting the
The seasonal.
the seasonal, not increasing the seasonal wages, but keeping the full-time employees. If we gave all the seasonal employees a raise, it was a bigger impact.
Interesting.
There's
What
about-
do they make now?
They're making 15 and 18, and they got an increase a couple years ago.
How, that doesn't, that's a,
Well, I'll show you tomorrow.
because the two full-time people, a full-time equivalency is 90,000. It's about a $55,000 salary and about $25,000 of benefits. And the hourly seasonal person is $15 an hour for 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours to make the full-time equivalency. That's $30,000. I know there's FICA and some payroll stuff I'm not considering, but how in the world could that possibly be?
Based on the number of hours they're working,
Yeah.
that's what we used to calculate it. I mean, I'll show you
Okay, yeah,
our work tomorrow.
okay.
Okay, so back up to the top. Increase vacant property fees, $10,000. Increase short-term rental revenue, $300 increase. This third one is what we needed to plug in to support all the other changes. Appropriate from the lease prepayment, we needed another $146,000. If all these things go through. If they don't, that number will change. Next thing is decreasing the part-time labor, which we just talked about. Changes to the code budget were those offsets that Chris talked about. He increased 3 line items and decreased 1 line item, and it netted out to a savings of $8,800. Decrease other services in stormwater. That is the offset to moving Sarah, the environmentalist, over to stormwater. So we offset that by decreasing another expense.
Does everyone understand the
We-
benefit of that?
Now, I need to know, you tell me other services, I need to know specifically other services.
Other services is all of the repair and maintenance services that go into the stormwater. And if you remember, we've been budgeting that kind of high the first couple of years that stormwater fee is in place, because we want to have a surplus for the first few years to so that we can build up the fund balance. Now,
How much have we been tapping out of it?
well, we've been making whatever repairs that we need to do out of it, but we've been trying to
Build for
leave
catastrophe.
some
Yeah.
surplus behind to build up the fund balance in case of emergencies. So we're using it for routine maintenance and trying to leave some
I understand,
for the next
I'm a little
year.
confused with that, because we had the stormwater put in
Yes,
so we could build up money for catastrophic problems,
right.
and yet we're taking money out of it every day. What sense does that make? Again,
We're using
we're spending
some of
more
the
than we
money
have.
to do routine maintenance,
that was supposed to go into a fund to
preventative
build up.
maintenance. It was supposed to go for preventative maintenance and catastrophic. So it was supposed to be used for both. So we're trying to split the difference. We're doing routine maintenance, which will help us prevent catastrophic repairs. And we're also trying to save, build up the fund balance to provide for catastrophic repairs. So, it's just a balance.
Isn't there a couple projects currently that you guys are working on with the Cockwood Bridge area? I believe like 2 or 3 lines that were trouble areas that you guys are tackling right now before it became an issue. Sorry, Jason. I was saying,
Stormwater projects at the moment.
yeah, what stormwater projects are you currently working on? Because I know you guys are currently working on some stormwater projects.
Shoot.
Right.
So what we have is, we're still kind of on the tail end of some of the ARP funding. So we have a couple, we finished one of those up this year, we have one more, I think, big one out of there.
Okay.
Some stream bank restorations and some other, I won't get into all the pipes.
I just wanted the vague areas that currently we're in the middle of updating some of the stormwater infrastructure, because I know you guys are working on some stuff.
What we're using 24 stormwater for.
I'm sorry,
They want to know what we're using the 24 stormwater funds for.
2024.
Yeah, what examples, what was spent?
Well, a lot of them, we did a lot of various emergency repairs out of that 56 account, I think it is.
Yeah.
Then we also had some of those balance, well, I think I spoke in the session, we have some couple pieces of equipment, like street sweepers and things earmarked for 2025.
Yeah.
I just knew you guys were working on some projects currently this year that were issues that you currently weren't able to take on until the stormwater fund was started.
Yeah.
I would just add, it's a lot less expensive for us to do that preventative maintenance than waiting for the catastrophic failure, which costs us 3 times as much to fix.
And one other thing that we used some of the stormwater funding for in 2024 was the State Street Improvement Project, which is a RACP grant, mostly funded by a RACP grant, but we had to come up with some match. So we used some stormwater funds for the, what do you call them, cells, soil cells? Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. And, okay, we showed a positive change from the reimbursement revenue that's going to come from the revolving loan funds to pay for the assistant manager, which or of code, which is down here in the next section.
Mr. Groner told us he's gonna pay for that for a year, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So we have that as an offset. That's down in the offsets. Okay, so the negative adjustments are an increase in other services and charges for planning and neighborhood resources. It's some consulting fees that Jackie was asking for when she did her session.
Well, one of them was for pay raise for the historic planner.
None of that went through.
Okay.
Let's see, MMO. The MMO increased for the firefighters only because of their their raise, because they got a pretty good-sized raise from the arbitration, 5.75%, and that was enough for us to recalculate the pension contribution. So that's a $121,000 increase.
They gave us a big break previously, though, too, didn't they? They took no money for a while.
Did we get the
It's
breakdown?
catching up.
Oops, sorry. Go ahead. Ed. My ADHD just kicked in. You were talking. I'll wait. Sorry.
Go ahead, I'm done. Go ahead.
The breakdown of some of the consultation things that we had asked about. We had asked about just some of the budget requests around, like, what are some of the things that are because some of them had like bigger jumps up, and I don't. Did we as council receive some of those? That just kind of like spell them out.
I think those were some of the public works consulting fees. They wanted a breakdown, and no, we didn't.
In the public buildings and the engineering.
Yeah.
Line items. I have those numbers coming in right now. I think the numbers are, the one was like 50,000 in 707 and 75,000 in 723. And I believe the numbers are good. They might be just a little bit heavy, but they're close. Still waiting on a couple of things to fine tune there, but I believe we're going to have definitely some expenditures next year in those areas.
One of the big benefits on this is that if he gave us numbers that are a little bit too high on those, then he just won't spend them.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't spend them, then we have a
Surplus.
balance to roll forward into next year. It's not like we're raising taxes this
Right.
year with those expenses put in, into use. And they've been pretty good about rolling it over. I mean, they really have been.
Yeah.
Do we remember, I can't remember what the consulting was in the planning in the neighborhood. That's why I was flipping through this book. I thought I written it down, but I actually grabbed the wrong book.
You mean that 40,000?
Yeah.
That's for the match for our state's Safe Streets and Roads for All grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Thank you.
That was a $200,000 grant.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Question, do we have to vote on these separately, or can we just say,
We can move
accept them all?
Yeah, we can
Can we
accept
batch
them all
them?
at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make that motion.
We need a first and a second, guys.
Let's get through them all,
Yeah,
because I
let's
think we
get
can
through
batch
them all.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that we did.
We've got the increase to the clerk's salary in here.
Yep, we're gonna take care of our clerk.
Oh,
And-
jeez.
Oh man, what'd she say to me she said something mouthy to me this week.
What?
though.
Oh, wow.
She's been a delight. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Call for recess to discuss.
She did say something.
And this last item is a decrease to the refuse fee, which is, it's a decrease in revenue, so it's in the decreased,
It's a
I thought it wasn't a
decrease.
decrease in revenue because you're
Because
upping
we're
the
lowering the
commercial
rate.
thing.
No, that was on
no, that's
wastewater.
wastewater.
Oh, it's
In
the other one.
refuse, we
Oh,
cut it
refuse.
down there too.
Oh, all right.
Right.
So it was gonna be
And-
$24 a year, we found $4 a person in savings.
In refuse, we, and I'll go over it when we get to the end here, but that decrease in revenues for a good reason. So, and we've offset it with an increase by cutting expenses, and we transferred some of the cost to another fund. So, we paid for that.
Another fund that's paid for by tax exempt and commercial instead of just residents.
Just our poor people.
Right.
We can help
Refuse is the most regressive thing that we charge people.
I know.
So this shifted it well.
But our rate's still well below,
Yeah, they are.
the other townships.
Compared to everyone else, yes, they are.
Other townships don't have the poverty level we have.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
So many different variables. But we did better.
Yeah. All right, so the offsets are transferring the environmentalist from refuse to stormwater. Now, originally, we had her split between sewer and refuse, but she does a lot of work with stormwater as well, so we transferred her there.
There's a lot of work, period.
Yes, I know.
Hard working lady.
I agree. And we added an assistant manager. The assistant manager for code enforcement. And that's an offset from the revolving loan fund, which I'm showing the revenue up in the additions. So if you wanted to see, as far as the refuse go, this 147,000 in the refuse column is offset by a decreased expense in the top section and a transferred to somebody, to another department in the bottom section. And all of these are zeroed out and paid for themselves. The revolving loan fund, I just put this in here as the last column, not to balance to anything, but just for informational purposes.
Lisa, can you give Councilmember Shoup a paper?
Sorry.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
So all the changes that we have discussed.
Could you help me understand the
Quick little fact
transfer of the amusement tax to the amusement license revenue? Just like walk me through that.
So that was the skill games registration fee. It's not a tax.
Okay.
So I asked that we distinguish between those so that that's
Gotcha, right.
clarified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
We just added that boost to the wrong account when we prepared the original budget. So,
Have they started collecting that yet?
I don't know. I don't do these things.
That's the executive branch, Kathy. We're the legislative, I don't, yeah, that's above
We
us.
can't get anything from them?
From skill games? Correct. No. We're right now getting as much as we can get. That was legislation that we did this year. Good job.
And the state is about to change how they're collecting as well, too,
Yeah.
correct?
Hopefully.
Okay.
They were supposed to have that done by last year. That's why we moved on it now. It's because Harrisburg just doesn't move fast.
Yeah.
That's,
All right. I'd like to make a motion to accept all of these amendments.
I already did that, didn't I?
Okay,
You
I'd
should
like
be
to
my
second
second.
Ed's.
Think I'm sleeping here, huh?
Well, there's been a little bit of discussion since then. I don't know. Can we get like an all in favor on that? All in favor.
So we have a motion sponsored by Councilmember Brzezinski, second by Councilmember Nelson, to accept the budget revisions as presented. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Mr. Troop is now here, Witherspoon, Flores. So the motion passes 7-0.
All
So
right.
good night.
Should be easy tomorrow.
Everything looks good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all coming here on Tuesday night before our evening council meeting. So you all have a good evening and see you tomorrow.
City Council adjourns
you can go back.
Balance this out.
at 6 p.m. Members Flores, Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon.